Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Lessons with A. In today's lesson, we will be continuing mastering adjectives and adverbs, and this is the final part. In this part, we are going to talk about how to compare adjectives, and as always, we are going to make it as simple as we can. Adjectives are compared using degrees, and they are absolute, comparative, and superlative degrees. Let's take the absolute degree of comparison. The absolute form is also sometimes called the positive form or the positive degree of comparison. This form of comparison is used when we are talking about a single noun with nothing else or a subject to be compared to. Examples are a pretty girl, a happy man. In both of these examples, the adjectives used are describing only one noun. In the first sentence, the adjective pretty only describes the noun girl, and there is no other noun there to be compared with girl. And the adjective happy describes only the noun man without any comparisons. This means we have used the adjectives in their absolute forms, the forms where they describe a single noun. Now, the comparative degree of comparison. The comparative degree is used when two nouns are to be compared. We form the comparative forms of adjectives by using gr, r, ier, or using the words more and less. Let's see how to use this. Add er to adjectives that don't end with e. Examples will be who. You add er to it and it becomes cooler, a cooler day. Same with smart. It doesn't end with e, so you can add er to it to make the comparative degree of comparison for it. So we have smarter, a smarter girl. That is the same for short. Shorter, a shorter man. Now, add r to adjectives that end with e. So, examples will be large. It ends with e, so you just have to add r to get the comparative form of it. So, it will be larger when we get a larger box. Wise also ends with e. You just have to add an r to it to get the comparative form of it. We get a wiser man. Same with strange. It becomes stranger, a stranger boy. And for some adjectives that end in y, replace the y with ier. Examples are messy. You replace the y in messy with ier, and it becomes messier, a messier day. The same with happy. You replace the y with ier, and you get a happier student. Moving on. For some adjectives, add more or less before them to make their comparative forms. So mischievous, we add more before it to get more mischievous. Interesting, we add more before it and you get more interesting. Beautiful, we add more before it and you get more beautiful. Or mischievous, you can add less before it and you get less mischievous. Interesting, you add less before it, you get less interesting. Beautiful, you add less before it, you get less beautiful. Be mindful that we use the comparative forms when we are describing two nouns, two different nouns. Now, to the superlative degree of comparison, we use this comparison when we are comparing the same attribute or qualities among two or more nouns. It shows that a particular quality is at its best or minimum level among the nouns being compared. Superlative adjectives are introduced by the word but, and we form their forms by using est, st, iest, or using the words most and least before them. Let's see how to use them. So, add est to adjectives that don't end with e. So cool does not end with E, so you add est to it to get the superlative form. So you get coolest. We move on to smart, smartest, short, shortest. They don't have E at the end, so you just have to add est to get their superlative forms. Now add st to adjectives that end with E. So large ends with E, so you add st to it and you get largest. Wise ends with E, add st to it and you get wisest. Strange ends with E, add st to it, you get strangest. Now for some adjectives that end in Y, replace the Y with iest. So messy ends with Y, we replace the Y with iest, we get messiest. Happy, happiest. Now for some adjectives, add most or least before them to make their superlative forms. So mischievous, you add most before it and you get most mischievous. Interesting becomes most interesting. Beautiful becomes most beautiful. Or you can add least before them to get their superlative forms. And mischievous becomes least mischievous. Interesting becomes least interesting. Beautiful, least beautiful. Now, the key difference between the superlative and comparative form is that the superlatives show how a noun is different from all the others of its kind, while the comparative form shows how two nouns are different from each other. Let's dive in further with these examples. The apple is redder than the shirt. The red apple was the sweetest apple I have ever had. Now, we are comparing just two nouns to see how red they are from each other in the first example, that is the comparative one. But in the superlative form, we are showing how the red apple differs from all other kinds of apples we have ever had, that is being the sweetest. So in the comparative, we just use two nouns that are different from each other. But in the superlative, we used apples. They all are apples, they have the same similarities, they have the same qualities. So that is the key difference between them. In the comparative, two different nouns, superlative, nouns in their own kind, seeing what reigns supreme or what is inferior. Moving on to the next example. John is taller than Jake, and John is the tallest person in the family. In the comparative form, we compared how John is different from Jake, a whole different person. But in the superlative, we compare how John is different from the people who share some similarities with him, that is his family. Now there we have it. We have seen how to compare adjectives. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.